Good morning. It's Bernard Nomberg Law Firm. It's our usual Tuesday talks about the law. We're out of the office today. We're at the King Simmons Law Firm with our buddy Larry King here, and we're going to talk about why Alabama workers' comp laws are so important to us. And good morning, Larry. Appreciate you having a few minutes to spend with us. Tell the folks a little bit about you and your firm.
Well, Bernard, thank you. It's a great honor to speak with you for a few minutes this morning. My name is Larry King. Our firm is in Birmingham, King Simmons. We have 5 lawyers and do work very similar to that's done at the NOMBERG firm. We do personal injury cases, workers' comp cases, and some labor type issues as well here.
Okay. Larry has championed injured workers for many years now. He's not that much older than me. Larry is one of the smartest guys around. If David and I ever need to consult with anybody, we know who to call, and that's Larry. And today we are talking about an area of the law that's very near and dear to our hearts, and that's workers' comp. And we're going to address why workers' comp is so important, a little bit of what it does and how it helps injured folks around the state, things that we can do differently, things that should be done, and the like. Larry, I'm going to just toss it to you and let you tell the folks what is workers' comp in Alabama and why is it important?
Well, workers' comp, just generally speaking, is a system that's a very limited remedy that is available in most circumstances in the event of a job injury. There are medical benefits that are provided at no charge to the injured worker, and there is a limited system of compensation. The objective is to kind of keep him upright during his period of rehabilitation and to recognize and compensate him to a limited extent for a permanent injury. Largely, this results from a choice that our society has made. There are essentially 3 choices that any society can do when a member of its labor force goes down from an occupational accident. We can do nothing at all and leave them to their own to starve or to remain crippled and untreated. And ultimately that's going to become an obligation for taxpayers to pick up. Or we can have a tort system like we do with a car wreck case or a slip and fall, where the amount of damages essentially are unlimited, but in many instances that poses great hardships to employers that may face very large verdicts. Or we can have a system that takes fault out of the equation entirely, and the clients that you and I represent, the injured workers, don't have to prove fault, but the amount of remedy that they get is more limited. So that's a decision. We can do nothing. We can expose employers to very large jury verdicts, or we can have a limited system that is designed, at least in concept, to be equal and balanced and fair to both sides.
Larry, how does the Alabama system, the Alabama work comp system, compare to other states, say Florida, Georgia, anywhere else in the country?
Very candidly speaking, we're antiquated. We're obsolete in many respects. The remedies in terms of the disability benefits that our workers get here while they're rehabilitating and once their injury has developed to a point where we know this person's going to have limitations over the rest of their life that will affect their ability to earn. Those numbers, those figures, those formulas that go into that were set in 1987. So we're dealing with laws that were very fair 30 years ago, but today have become completely antiquated and obsolete.
For folks who work for Alabama employers, whether they're out of state working and get hurt or they're in state working and get hurt, give some general advice and ideas that what should the worker do upon being hurt at the job? What's their steps after they realize they're hurt and are getting the medical care or may need that medical care?
Well, the first thing anybody needs to do if they are injured at work is be sure that they get medical treatment. In order to trigger the work comp system, if you will, you need to report the fact that you've been injured at work to a supervisor or an HR person, somebody that's in charge and can get word up the chain. But regardless of whether you have time to do that or not, if you're injured and you require medical treatment, get to the doctor and get it. Let's worry on the back end about who's going to pay for it, whether it's Blue Cross or workers' comp.
Now, a lot of folks, Larry, who get hurt on the job may not have ever have needed or hired an attorney for anything in their lives, and they may be apprehensive or a little scared. It's going to cost me a lot of money. Why do I need a lawyer? Talk about that for just a second. Why does an injured worker, on the initial stages of it, why would he need to come to an attorney?
Well, that's a good question, and a lot of people don't know a lawyer personally, or they've never really been involved with one, and there's this aura or mystique that lawyers are somehow scary people. And you can see I've got two hands, you've got two hands, I've got two eyes and two ears, and you do too, and cut us and we'll both bleed red blood. Why? Yeah, get a lawyer. Good idea. Why is that a good idea? Think just for a moment about what's on the other side of your claim. You've got professionally trained claims adjusters working for insurance companies. And how do insurance companies make money? As a general principle, they collect premiums from the people that they insure, and the profit comes from not paying out in claims more than what they took in premiums. So they're very skilled, very professional, very trained. They know the rules inside and out, and most people that are just working on the job somewhere when they get hurt, they don't have that same level of expertise, and that's what a lawyer brings to the table.
A lot of times I hear, and you may hear this from your clients as well, I don't want to get a lawyer because if I get a lawyer, I'm going to be fired, or if they find out at work I have a lawyer, I'm going to be fired. Why do they still need that lawyer?
Well, and you know what, that happens sometimes. And the law does provide a mechanism of protection for that, and we can talk about that a little bit in a minute perhaps, or I know you had Attorney Steve Guzzi on last week and spoke in great depth in an excellent presentation.
He did.
But that said, go ahead and get a lawyer to advise you of your rights. Sometimes the employer doesn't even need to know that you're consulting with a lawyer, but you need your rights protected. Or if the lawyer does need to get involved, this is your body that needs to be taken care of medically. It's the financial security of your family that's at stake, so protect it. I guarantee you that your employer is protecting itself with professional claims adjusters and lawyers.
Now, along those lines, if an injured worker hires a lawyer, sometimes it's been expressed to us when it's a new client in the first meeting, does that necessarily mean we're filing a lawsuit just because I've hired you?
Absolutely not. Probably the majority of cases are resolved very amicably. That means the case is settled without having to file a lawsuit and go to court and do the things associated with a lawsuit. Probably the majority of the cases that we handle, and maybe I'm speaking for you as well, are resolved without filing a lawsuit. So there's not that big specter of being intimidated by having to go to courthouses and trials and all that sort of stuff.
And along those lines, if you settle your case out of court without going to a trial, can you still get those same benefits and have your rights protected as if you were in court in front of a judge for a trial?
No question about it. Your rights to medical treatment and a work comp claim that have been accepted will follow you for the rest of your life. And a workers' compensation case is settled in essentially one of two ways. It's either approved by a judge or approved by an ombudsman with the Alabama Department of Labor. And in either of those circumstances, all of your rights can be, and for the most part are, set forth in the paperwork and signed either by the judge or by the Department of Labor representative to ensure the integrity of the rights going forward.
Larry, this has been a good discussion. We appreciate you coming on today. How can folks get in touch with you if they want to reach out to Larry King at the King Simmons Law Firm?
They can find us on the internet at www.kingsimmons.com, or they can call our office at area code 205-871-1310.
Thank you, Larry. This is Bernard Nomberg with the Nomberg Law Firm. It's another Tuesday Talk on the Law. We appreciate you spending a few minutes with us this morning, and We'll post this video on our Facebook page as well as to our website in the upcoming days, which is nomberglaw.com. 205-930-6900 is our office number, of course. Thank you for being with us for this morning, and we hope you have a good rest of your day and a good week. We'll see you next week.